So, recently, an individual, a pro Valorant player known as Florescent, has had some pretty heavy allegations dropped against them by this Twitter user known as Kitty. They say in this tweet, "Hello, I want to bring to light some very important stuff involving @Florescent and are discussing actions from the past year." Also broke on Reddit. There's 2 documents. So, I don't really know much about Florescent. I don't know their past. I just know is that they are a professional Valorant player. And we have what appears to be 8, maybe 8 pages, to go through. "Hello, this post is to bring to light what Ava Florescent has done to one of the most important people in my life." So this person is okay. That is an extremely important thing to take a note of off the bat. Off rip, that is an important detail to note. This person is not actually the victim. This is another situation where it's a third party telling a victim story or bringing a victim story for them. Alleged victim, to be clear. Someone who deserves justice for what has happened and deserves the closure of people knowing what happened. I am not doing this for internet points or clouts or impressions. I honestly do not give a about that. I love this girl immensely and I want people to know the truth. I also knew Ava personally and was close with her at one point, so I have a lot of insight to her character, and honestly, none of this was ever surprising. She is an awfully vile person and very disgusting. This goes a lot deeper than what's in this doc, but due to personal choice from the girl that will not come to light now, she's taken the time to compile a lot of things to back up the claims. Another important detail to note, these people aren't prepared to bring this stuff to light. They don't even have any evidence. They don't have any compilation of information to give any sort of substantiation here. Apologies for the rhymes. Regardless, this already is an incredibly irresponsible document. I'm not throwing away anything like that they're saying out the window just yet. However, this already is we are just coming out of the Saberspark stuff. We are just coming out of the Cameron F305 stuff. You can't be presenting allegations like these without any substantiation. That is a quick way for everybody, even if there is something here, to immediately discredit what you're laying out. I also knew Ava personally and was close with her at one point, so I have a lot of insight to her character, and honestly, none of this was ever surprising. She's an awfully vile person and very disgusting. This goes a lot deeper than what is in this doc, but due to personal choice from the girl that will not come to light now, I want to let it be known that this isn't a baseless case, which I'm already skeptical of, and that there is so much more that will eventually come forward, but for now, I'm respecting her wishes and only talking about this. The only reason information is being withheld is because the victim needs time to properly assess what she wants to make public. Again, you don't just come out with allegations like these and then want a level of, I want to say, you can't have a stopgap here. Right? These situations don't come with stopgaps. You can't apply stopgaps here. She wants time to assess what to make public and what should stay personal. Then you probably should have waited before. These people probably got trigger happy and jumped the gun with these accusations. But it appears that we have a second document anyway, so maybe I'm getting a little bit too trigger happy myself. However, if this is really the first document that they came with, dude, what a way to shoot yourself in the foot, optically speaking. Because this involves a real person that is still struggling. Please give her time to come forward with more. For anyone asking, Brick is a fake name to keep the girl's identity private still. On January 3rd, 2024, Brick was sexually assaulted by Ava Florescent, and this is a recollection of the events told from my perspective, and I double-checked everything to make sure it was a 101 recollection from the girl. Just created it from my perspective. Oh my god, we're getting hearsay. We are getting hearsay off rip. Automatically, what my brain jumps to is this person gonna have their own biases? I am already incredibly skeptical, because if I'm supposed to take hearsay from an individual as a one-to-one reiteration, as a one-to-one recollection, again, coming from the Saberspark stuff, this is incredibly reckless. On January 3rd, 2024, Brick went to Ava's house. Brick knew it would end up being sexual because they had talked about it days prior. Okay, so at least they are iterating some of the dynamics. They are iterating some of the dynamics that at least they're aware of. And Brig had stated not wanting to do anything sexual, to which Ava then stated, all right, then I don't really want to see you. Okay? It's fine. If they don't want to see each other because, because, you know, they don't want to have any sexual interaction, that is completely understandable. Brig told me that when she got into Ava's house, Ava had changed her phone password so she couldn't access it. Ava had claimed it was because she didn't want Brig to know where she lived. Brig brushed it off, and soon after, Ava started initiating sexual things, to which Brig had consented and participated in. Okay? So there is consent. There's consent here. Okay, okay. Maybe I'm giving this person... I'm assuming that they're referencing to this here. I'm assuming that this person writing this document is referencing to this here. And if they are, then maybe I'm treating these individuals too harshly. Maybe these individuals are a little bit more responsible than I initially gave them credit for. Ended up turning into them having sex, and she told me that she was in a lot of physical pain the whole time. Kept telling Ava that it hurt, and Ava just chose to ignore it. After Ava finished, Brig went to clean herself up and noticed that she was bleeding. She then went back into her room, too embarrassed to say anything, and they took a nap together. I mean, that sounds incredibly gross, and there's a lot of criticism that you can give to Ava for potentially being like an incredibly gross, like, you know, individual when it comes to like having healthy sexual interactions. However, from the information that I'm gathering here, it doesn't seem like this person did a lot to stop the advances. At least from what's being laid out here. Brig told me that she woke up to her mom calling her phone, telling her that she had to go home. So she woke up Ava to ask for an Uber home, to which Ava kept telling her that she didn't want Brig to leave and that she wanted to have sex, despite Brig telling Ava she had to go, telling her that she was missing scrims and that her mom was starting to get mad at her, urging Brig to go home. Yet Ava continued to ignore her request and kept telling Brig that she would regret it if they didn't have sex. Brig told her that she didn't want to have sex and continued to tell her no. She also kept resisting Ava's advancements, and along with not wanting it, Brig was still bleeding from the sex earlier, and she knew it would be too painful. I cannot stress enough how badly I did not want to. I want sex, and I just wanted to go home, and I made all of that very clear to her. This is what Brig told me whilst explaining everything to me, and it was very clear from the initial text she had sent me after it happened. Ava ignored Brig's effort to make her stop, and soon after Ava ended up on top of her, Ava then kept trying to take Brig's pants off and kept trying to reach her hands into Brig's panties. Dude. Brig kept telling her that she had to leave, reminding Ava that she had stated she was jet-lagged and not feeling well either, saying she would just rest instead, and that Brig could potentially just see her another time, basically grasping at anything because she felt so powerless. Ava told her that 25 minutes had gone by and that they could have been done by now. Brig didn't know what to do because her phone was locked and had no way of contacting her mom unless she called her first. How would her phone get locked, though? Brig felt so trapped and kept refusing until Ava asked her if she wanted to disappoint Ava, and in that moment, Brig realized she had no power and that there was truly nothing she could do besides give up. So after nearly 30 minutes of rejecting and resisting her sexual advances, Brig gave up and let Ava do what she wanted. Brig never gave verbal consent and was consistently saying no and resisting it. After that, she let Brig leave. So that does sound like coercive rape. And while I'm not denying that nothing did happen here, right? Like everything here seems okay. That now I'm starting to come around a little bit. While I'm not denying that nothing happened here, this part here seems kind of like, you know, pointless to pad this story. We should have focused on this. They had consensual sex once in the past. It wasn't great. And in fact, it was like filled with miscommunication. And then after that, because the person didn't like the sex, it was initiated again. But this time, they did not consent because they weren't happy with how it went last time. Hello, this is Brig. I have decided to remain anonymous, but I will share everything from my perspective. Going public was the most challenging thing I've ever had to do. I tried to handle the situation with the utmost respect for her. I wanted her to get help, and I didn't want to drag her, which is why it's taken me so long to find the strength to come forward about all of this. I tried to keep these things offline, to talk it out with Ava privately via DMs when I had originally confronted her about this. She denied it, kept telling me she forgot everything. She claimed she was super jet-lagged and not quite there during those events, yet when I prompted her with evidence, she said I was lying. When I asked her when she would arrive back in Toronto so that I could file a report to the police, she ended up blocking me. I'll provide you with all the screenshots and conversations I can. Please be patient and read this document thoroughly. When I asked her when she would arrive back in Toronto so that I could file a report to the police, she ended up blocking me. Okay, but that's not indicative that there was ever a report filed so far. Over the past year and a half, and even if she did file a report, would this be considered rape? I mean, you could probably call it coercive rape if the details are as accurate as they're claiming. I'm not gonna make a legal argument here. Legal arguments are dangerous. There's a possibility that perhaps there's a possibility, probably a very low possibility, that if taken seriously, these allegations could probably be taken as coercive rape. I'm unwilling to make that as a definitive claim, though. For the past year and a half, I've been working through what happened during my relationship with Ava and the aftermath of it. I finally have the confidence to share my story, knowing the backlash I will receive. I know a lot of people won't like to see this, but I need this for my disclosure and well-being to move forward. Ava and I dated for roughly 9 months, from December 2022 to the beginning of October 2023. Our relationship was incredibly toxic, abusive, and controlling. We tried to break up several times, but always got back together. I recall trying to break up with her after finding lewd photos of other women on her phone. She refused to leave my house another time I tried to break up with her for cheating on me with her friend. Ava was 16 at the time, and her friend was in her 20s, according to her. That's kind of gross. And Ava called my mom crying and begging to talk to me. All of these things made leaving difficult for me, as it was my first relationship ever. Towards the end of the relationship, the last 3 months, we were on and off almost every single day. One of us would try to end things, and the other would beg to work things out. This was very mutual. She and I were super close and practically had no friends outside of each other. So it sounds like this is an extremely toxic relationship with somebody who doesn't really understand how to have healthy relationships, and another individual that is too socially inept to know what a healthy relationship looks out. Same Ava from no, not the same Ava from Mr. Beast. Not the same Ava from Mr. Beast. This is a Valorant player. Completely different people. Screenshots from when I originally tried to confront Ava about what happened on January 3rd, and her responses, which led to me being blocked. And blocked for Ava's privacy as it's my personal account. Please tell me this fucking screenshot is broken. It isn't. Okay, cool. I don't recall that happening. I'm sorry. I don't know who else to tell you. I was barely awake the whole time you were over. Does that justify it? I don't know. We had sex a couple of times and you left, and that last time I saw you. Well, I just don't know if this is even happened. It doesn't justify what's said in the images, though. Okay, so even this person is like apprehensive of their own behavior, if that is what they actually did. But it doesn't seem like they're willing to, like, actually remember whether or not they did what they're being accused of. We did stuff we both liked, and I always thought of stuff you'd like or want to try or what you needed. I tried to feed you every day and give you the best treatment I could, like going home every day, all sorts of gifts. We went out to shopping and concerts. I'm telling you, for 30 minutes, I need to go home. My phone is locked. I can't call anyone. You're the only way I can get home because of Uber. I really tried, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. You were a good girlfriend, and I'm saying you weren't. If that were the case, I wouldn't miss you. But the fact is our relationship was heavily revolving around sexual stuff. Thank you for reaching out so I can try to help. Also, I want to be in Toronto until the end of August. But going where? If you aren't home when I report it, they'll likely talk to Sarah about it. Up to you. I just won't be... It seems like they're pretty amicable after the fact. It just appears that this person just seriously didn't like the sexual interaction. But this person just seems to be, like, incredibly persistent. And they're not denying it here either. But this isn't indicative of, like... This isn't indicative as, like, as a... So far as I can see... So far as I can see, like, the closest you could argue here... The closest you could argue here... is that there was possibly a coerced rape. Which is gross in and of itself, right? But... Without understanding the full dynamics, without understanding the full context, that's a very hard thing to actually suggest here. I won't even close your ask because you don't remember it. Why don't you remember it? I don't want to discredit you or make you feel ashamed or wrong, but what we remember happening is completely different. How do you remember happening? I already told you. I don't want to put you down because you're already not doing well, and I do feel horrible for you the way you are right now and what you're personally going through, but I will sympathize you 100%, but I don't believe you. So it seems like they acknowledge that this person is actually, like, struggling. But are they trying, like, but there's also the possibility that this person could be gaslighting them as well. Also, hello, Drake. There's also the possibility that this individual could be gaslighting. I just know we had sex a couple of times, and then you left, and that's the last time I saw you. Well, I just don't know this even what happened. It doesn't justify what's in the images. But where's, like, is this all they had to say about like, the recollection of what they actually remember went on? We did something we both like, and I always thought of stuff you'd like or wanted to try. I tried, okay. Is that it? Here they're sending screenshots of, like, the first text exchange that these individuals had with another friend. But by I already told you, are they attempting to, like, gaslight them, so to speak? Or did they actually already tell them and we just don't see it? Because something's cut off here. Between here and here, something's cut off. Very curious. I'm very curious. Story behind the fake pregnancy. The fighting truly began to pick up when Ava accused me of lying about being pregnant. She had always pushed aside the idea of using protection and would say things like raw feels better or saying not to be scared, stating I can pull out due to the tense fact. Okay, so this person, based on the descriptions that they're laying out, seems to be like an incredibly gross, pushy individual that just doesn't care about like proper, sexual communication. Which again is something that you could definitely criticize them for if this is true. It's definitely something that you can absolutely probably give a little bit of condemnation for. Again, like you could probably suggest that there was some form of coercive rape here, but without more like evidence, without more information in this person like making a statement, it's really difficult to conclude. Exhibiting the signs of early pregnancy. I texted her, I think I'm pregnant. I took a test which came back positive and started freaking out, which resulted in panicked and incredibly poor decision making. Not knowing how she would react to me being pregnant, I searched the internet for a photo of a random pregnancy test. I chose a photo that very obviously was not mine and sent it her. So this person is dubious. This person already is like somewhat of an unreliable narrator. Why would you do this? Okay, maybe they were just panicking. I'm going to be charitable and say that maybe they were just panicking. But sending a random pregnancy test off the internet and sending it to her? Was it a fake pregnancy test? Or like, was it a pregnancy test that sent negative? I tried to make a joke about me potentially being pregnant, just trying to gauge what her reaction would be if the test wasn't a false positive. Okay, I see. Never mind. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. After that, I took 2 more tests that both came back negative. Okay. So she was rash. She was just being rash. And then I clarified that I was not pregnant. Okay. Okay, I see. It was a misunderstanding. It was a miscommunication. I understand that. This makes a lot of sense now. And weeks later, she got angry at me, saying I stressed her out during practice and that I was to blame for many things because I lied about being pregnant. I would like to see interactions of these, which I think based on this link we might have. Despite me clarifying to her that I wasn't pregnant, she turned it on me by saying she assumed it was me coping, and regardless of me never being pregnant and clarifying it, time and time again, she still goes around to this day, telling people that I tried to baby trap her so she wouldn't break up with me. Okay, so based on what this person is saying, somebody is definitely a bit manipulative and dishonest in this story. And since like allegations like these are typically very, very skewed in a very biased direction, and since it took them a while to actually compile any information based on what we saw here, I'm having a hard time shaking my skepticism. And weeks later, she got angry at me, saying I stressed her out during practice and that I was to blame for many things. I already read that. I truly cannot stress this enough, but even after this whole fight, she still refused to have protected sex. If this is true, then this Ava person is absolutely a gross fucking freak. Absolutely a gross fucking, incompetent loser. I truly cannot... Okay. I would ask her to use protection because I was terrified of getting pregnant. But despite my concern, she would continue to refuse and ignore my well-being and worries. Is there... I would like for there to be, some messages corroborating this as well. But again, if this is true... This person is extremely gross. It is very, very, it is very, very, aggressive, gross, inconsiderate behavior. The events leading up to January 3rd, 2024, and I would say, if this is true, I would call it, sex pesty behavior. The events leading up to January 3rd, 2024, an incident from my POV. On December 25th, 2023, after a month of no contact, Ava drunk tested me trying to argue with me. The argument was going the same way as all the previous arguments, but when I told her I didn't care about her anymore, her response was that I would always love her. This comment from her made me feel awful, and I had told her that she seemingly felt bad, and then she asked me to speak over Discord instead. We ended up talking things out, and then we decided that we would see each other again once she was home from her vacation trip to Korea. If you still want to see me when I'm back, you can. Yes, please. Can you hold me? But if you know my address, no more seeing me. If you want to. Okay, this person is very, very emotionally dependent on this individual based on these messages. Let me know when you're back. Good night, Ava. I'll text you when I'm back. Maybe not much in Korea since I'll be super busy and time zone difference as well. I understand. But we always, I don't know. Do you want to do that? We can do that. Yeah, I'll probably see you Thursday. What are they referring to? What is being cut here? 102/2024, 5:44 p.m. 12/25/2023, 7:25 a.m. There's a lot being cut here. What's not being shown? What's not being shown? I'll probably see you Thursday then. I don't want to date you, but I want to do the stuff we did when we dated. Like what? Okay, but we aren't fucking. I don't know. Okay, I see it. They want to have like comfortable, I want to say amicable, sort of like, sweet, tender interactions based on my assumptions here, but she doesn't want to have sex. Okay, so she's like setting her boundaries pretty clearly. All right, then I don't really want to see you. Okay, oh, interesting. So we do have some corroboration. You want to see me for sex? Well, I don't really want to talk too much. When I see this coming, I'll think about it. Okay. If I feel really comfortable, maybe we can. No one else to fuck or what? I don't talk to many women. I focus on Valorant. Funny, was this your intention the whole time? Talk to me to have sex? Well, I don't want to get in a relationship. I didn't want to catch up and talk. I thought you wanted to. I don't know. I mean, maybe. This is very dubious consent here. You should really be communicating a lot more. It's either yes or no. But I don't know. I haven't done that stuff with someone I didn't love. Just weird. It's fine. We can fuck whatever. Okay, so she does give consent. And it seems like in this, at least through these exchanges, this person isn't being very pushy. So it appears that during the first interaction, there was consent involved. I thought you did love me still. You know how I feel. We'll probably talk too, since it's what you want as well. I just miss you more than I miss your body. Oh, we are so different. So I just miss you more than I miss your body. Wow, we are so different. Yeah, like these people are like complete opposites. It appears. This is a very like warm and tender person, and this is a very cold and like intent based person. I don't want to date you, but I don't want you to use me for my body either. I don't know how to feel. I'll talk to you and do what you think you'd like then. I mean, they seem somewhat reciprocal here, but it's not like, all the way there. They're very cold. Can you get home faster? And it's not like they're like doing like hot and cold either. They're just straight up cold. Can you get home faster, bro? Teleport. I'm just bro to you. Planting a little bit of seeds of like, connection. If she wanted to, she would. All I'm saying. That's true. I agree. Yeah, we're just friends. Crazy how that works. Okay, bro. I'm not seeing you tomorrow. Okay, he like this like she's obviously fishing. She's obviously fishing for like, more of like a little bit of emotional leverage here. To what extent, I don't know. Is that right to say? Is that a right assessment to make? Because I want to be charitable here. I mean, if I want to be okay, yeah, given like the biases that exist with previous stories that made me incredibly skeptical, I'll try to be a little bit more charitable to this victim because the story doesn't seem completely out of nowhere. Yeah, it appears that they like that this individual is kind of like using a little bit of emotional leverage here. Nope, I'm just bro, not even M-word, you don't even love me. But that's not like, why do you care? Unless you're trying to leverage their emotions. You know what? I'm leaning more towards that direction. Why do you care unless you're trying to leverage their emotions if you made it explicitly clear that you don't want a relationship, that you don't care for all that, and that you only wanted to have sex? Very dubious. Because I want you and I can't have you. Nobody can have me. Tomorrow you can, though. Does it not irk you that I'm yours? I hope you're still loyal to me until I'm ready. I've seen this type of behavior before. This is very like fuckboy, or in this case, very fuck girl behavior. It's incredibly gross. Incredibly gross. Like there's obviously like, some emotional like leverage being utilized here, where they're like, yeah, I'll wait for you, right? Like stay loyal to me so that I can keep like, utilizing your emotions whenever I need to. Yeah. Like please stay loyal until I'm ready, because they're like fishing. They're like stringing them along. They're leading them on with the express purpose. Well, not the express purpose, but with like, the very suggested purpose here of just like utilizing them for like, sexual pleasure. This is giving nice guy slash girl energy. Yeah. I miss you so badly. I'm scared to see you. Why scared? Because I still like you and you just want to fuck, but it's okay. I mean, I like you, but I don't want to date. But like is a very meaningless word in this situation, right? Because it doesn't actually showcase, or it doesn't actually like communicate all of the emotions that somebody might actually feel. For all she knows, she might be reading like hella into this and be saying, oh my god, this person is still emotionally attached to me. But for all we know, For all we know, this person could just be like, yeah, I like you for your body. And that's about it. I want exclusivity without us having to commit to each other. Does that make sense? Like, if you fuck me and talk to other girls, that's kind of weird. Okay. So they're setting like very, very loose boundaries, which I find I can't help but feel bad for this girl, because she's obviously like she is being like strung along here, and she just can't make her boundaries known because she's like completely love struck and head over heels for this person. And it appears that Ava can in fact leverage that to their advantage. On January 3rd, 2024, I went to her house. I knew it would end up being sexual because we had talked about it days prior, okay? So that corroborates with this document over here. I had stated not wanting to do it. Also, these images also corroborate those statements loosely. I had stated not wanting to do anything sexual initially, and then she told me, all right, then I don't really want to see you in response. But despite not wanting it, I still opted to go and get it over with because I just wanted to be with her. When I got to her house, she changed my phone password so I couldn't access it. That's an insane thing to allege. And if it's true, holy shit. If it is true, Jesus Christ. That is so gross to do. That people don't know how to describe passive-aggressive / pursuit / predatory behavior anymore, and don't know how to describe the weird vibes it gives to them. Well, that's partially because of like how fucking destructive the internet has been to like, you know, these situations, and how like, you know, how often situations like these are constantly litigated online. It's incredibly difficult to like, you know, actually point to anything, because you always have to think about the fact that these people are naive, or maybe they are being straightforward, but who fucking knows? Because who knows if they're being reliable narrators or if they're being unreliable narrators, right? I'm like these like fuck, dude. Allegations like these are such fucking like, god damn it, the internet ruined people. I'm gonna crash out. But in this case, I am not leaning in the direction that there wasn't something, you know, malicious here. I am not leaning in the direction that there wasn't something negative here. There is something here. But to what extent is hard to say. I think on the fact that this person is obviously like emotionally dubious and somewhat like, you know, and somewhat manipulative is gross on its own, even without the sexual aspects. And this, if it's true, is also extremely concerning to me. I brushed it off, and soon after she started initiating sexual things, to which I consented and participated in, it turned into us having sex. The entire experience was truly painful for me, and I kept telling her it hurt. After she finished, I wanted to clean myself up and saw that I was bleeding. I went back into her room, too embarrassed to say anything, and we took a nap together. She didn't want to know where she lived. I mean, that doesn't make any sense unless this person is completely, like, idiotic. Unless this person is completely idiotic, this doesn't make any sense. You're not going to pay attention to, like, street signs? You're not going to pay attention to, like, where you're going? You're not going to pay attention to, like, the Uber's route? This just doesn't make any sense. Unless the person is completely idiotic, which actually very well could be the case here. I cannot stress enough how badly I did not want to have sex. This is in regards to, like, the first interaction, like, the morning interaction that they had after they woke up. She continued to undergo my request and kept telling me she would regret it if we didn't have sex, right? Like, more, like, I am, based on the interactions that we saw on their phone, I am somewhat, I can somewhat believe that maybe this interaction occurred. I can somewhat believe that maybe this interaction occurred based on, like, those conversations that we saw. There's probably a level of, like, emotional manipulation going on here. She ignored my efforts to make her stop and ended up on top of me soon after. She then kept trying to take my pants off and kept trying to reach her hands into my panties. We already read this. Screenshots and recordings of messages I sent to my friend. Is this the same stuff we saw previously? There are more screenshots here, but I don't see how valuable they are. I don't really see how valuable they actually are. This is where I believe there's new stuff. I guess I did get what I wanted, but it's just weird. We aren't dating. We dodge anything talking about her feelings. She keeps trying to upset me to give me a reaction, but I guess it makes her feel... I don't know how I always end up getting the short end of the stick when I'm the one that keeps getting fucked over. Like, when does life get something good? Give me something good, bro. It's so fucked up. I hate everything about this. She was okay, too. She was being nice and stuff. It's just so weird. We were texting after, but on the phone, she's so mean. Not even. She just ignored me sometimes. It's probably because it's easier to be, like, you know, incredibly passive-aggressive while, like, you know, over a textual interaction. I just wanted to know if I was bothering her, so I asked, and she said yeah, because I asked if it annoyed her when I texted. And then I told her I didn't want the only time we talked to be sexual, but it's fine. It's my fault for being a moron. I'm gonna do it again. She called herself my GF, and I said, I don't have a GF. She, like, was referring to her. Yeah, there's obviously, like, some sort of, like, emotional manipulation going on here. And she said, your girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what she said. Like, you're so annoying, man. We aren't dating. It's just so unfunny, dude. She's like, I got some girls fun. Okay. Emotional baiting, if it's true, because it's hearsay. Where she said she went on a date in Vancouver and she was making a joke because she went out with her cousin or something, got dinner, just keeps fucking trying to make me jealous and I can't take it. I want to die. If I could just forget everything and leave forever, I would, dude. This relationship is not worth chasing. I just want to be loved purely, not for my body or for my appearance. Okay, so there's more context added to it. But we already read this. Whatever. If you want to have sex, can you at least have the decency to take care of me after? At least when I go home, don't act like I'm a fucking nuisance just because I want to talk to you. But I mean, it's pretty evident. It's pretty evident that this person's intent is to just like have sex with you and then throw you away, based on what I'm seeing, which is incredibly gross behavior. But if we actually, like, you know, take a moment to look at these like DMs, this text exchange after it happened and like, you know, in depth. But I'm not ready. I would say that this is, at most, I'm going to say that this seems incredibly coercive, and it seems like a level of emotional manipulation. Was there consent involved? More than likely, but probably under like some emotional, like, you know, turmoil. I don't even know what I expected, honestly. It was just so out of the blue because we had been napping, and I need to leave, and she's like getting all weird and saying if we didn't do anything again, she'd regret it. And I told her I'd see her soon anyways, and she was just so persistent, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. Florescent seems like the type of person after like knowing what she texted you. Actually, interesting read about not being able to see her if you fucked. That is upsetting that it happened to you, though. I don't think you should ever be forced into something like that. It was well, she did consent in that moment. After the fact, it's still up in the air. I don't know. I always expected better from her. It just hurts. I don't know what I did for her to become this kind of person after we broke up, for the point where she is actively smoking and drinking all the time too. Well, it appears that this person is incredibly hedonistic and doesn't actually care about, like, you know, proper behavior. They just care about, like, getting an easy high. Whether that be sexual or, you know, based on, like, drug abuse or drug use. Not abuse. Maybe she's just not herself right now. Recounting my sexual assault months later in therapy was my bridge into accepting that she wasn't the saint I pictured her to be during that relationship, of course. Despite it being difficult for me to fully accept, it did help me recognize all the other instances that she would take advantage of me for her own sexual gain, using my love and trust for her against me. To this day, I still blame myself for not being able to see the red flags during our relationship. I am not willing to take this sentence here at face value, because who knows what exactly she told to her therapist, and who knows what the therapist actually concluded off of that. Sometimes therapists will lead you in a direction based on your own biases, which is not an ethical thing to do. But I can somewhat agree with what she's saying based on my own understanding of what's going over here. September 3rd, 2023, CNE. On September 3rd, despite us being broken up, we decided we were selling out because we had tickets to go to the CNE. Despite us not being together and deciding that it was officially over a day prior, she came over very early in the morning. Keep in mind, the only reason we were even meeting at this point in time was because I didn't want our tickets to go to waste. We were just sitting in my room, watching a movie at my desk, and when she randomly tried initiating sex, I kept dodging her, but she ignored my discomfort, continuing to flirt with me, make perverted comments, all while making sexual advances. With all this happening and the breakup being so fresh, I became very perplexed. Since I still loved her, I blindly pursued things with her, hoping she was trying to fix things. Thinking maybe she realized it was a mistake, that she couldn't just be friends with me. After she finished, she just pushed me off of her, refusing to give me any sort of aftercare or even acknowledge me immediately after she went to sleep, and I ended up crying on my bed. It felt like such a huge slap in the face. Okay. So after the fact, you still continued. When was this? September 3rd, 2023. Okay. So was this before or after? What? I forgot to look at this. All right, disregard. This is just video. What was? I needed the data. After no spooning. I need a date. Of when this was recounted. January 5th, 2024. So I would assume that this interaction was before. Okay. September 3rd, despite us being broken up, we decided we would still hang out because we had tickets to the CNE. Okay, we already read that. She ignored my discomfort, continued to flirt with me, make perverted comments, all while making sexual advances. With all of this happening after the breakup being so fresh, I became very perplexed. Since I still loved her, I blindly pursued things with her, where she was trying to fix things. Think maybe she realized it was a mistake and that she couldn't just be friends with me. After she finished, okay, so this is consensual. It's gross what this person is doing to her, but it's still consensual. I woke her up a few hours later to go to the exhibit, but we ended up going home after 20 minutes of walking around due to the high tension built from the events earlier. During the Uber ride home, I realized that the relationship was truly nearing its end and that one of the few days I wanted to enjoy before starting school again was ruined. While all of this was playing in my mind, I started crying uncontrollably in the car, ignoring all of her efforts to apologize to me because I became nonverbal and virtually unable to move my body due to the mental shock I was facing, trying to process everything out. Like, dude, you don't have to add all of this additional fluff, okay? You had sex with an individual that doesn't care for you and is obviously very emotionally cold. You consented in a couple of these interactions, except maybe one. And it appears, based on some of the screenshots that you're providing, that this person is emotionally manipulative, manipulative to an extent. This is unnecessary. This only serves to like spark, an emotional reaction from like people that are looking inward, for the sake of being like emotionally tied to something when they really shouldn't be. It doesn't work on people like us whose goal is to like find objectivity and impartiality in a situation like this. When we got back to my house, she was still apologizing, but due to the state I was in, I continued to ignore it and just went into my room, got in bed, and faced away from her. Eventually, we spoke, and I found myself to get over it. Ironically enough, after all this, she immediately tried to initiate sex again. Okay, yeah, this person does sound like an incredibly dubious, which I'm going to say for like the millionth time, individual, incredibly emotionally manipulative. And it appears that this person is too emotionally weak to set any boundaries, which isn't to victim blamer, so to speak. It is incredibly irresponsible of her not to do that. But it appears that this Ava person is attempting to leverage every moment of like emotional vulnerability that this person has to get what she wants. It is extremely coercive, but I wouldn't call most of these like things that she's explaining rape. It is extremely gross though, don't get me wrong. But the reason I won't call it rape is because rape is a very very significantly impactful word that has a lot of weight. It comes with a lot of connotations. This is when she decided to ask me out, told me she loved me and wanted to be with me, and that she was sorry. I let myself believe she was being genuine because of how much I loved her, which led to us having sex. The entire time I was so dissociated and fucked up that she had to stop. We spent a few more hours together, then she Ubered back home. During that ride, she broke up with me once again. Fuck, why am I... Oh, dude, this is so fucked up. Why am I laughing? I feel so bad for her. How much we simmer down on the language, man? We don't be so hysterical. We spent a few more hours together, then she Ubered back home. During that ride, she broke up with me once again, making it clear to me that the only reason she apologized to me in the first place was to get me to have sex with her. Screenshots of the conversation followed after this. Okay, if we can see evidence of that in these screenshots, dude, then I am prepared to go in. Then I am prepared to go in on my verdict. Oh, are we dating? I don't know. I don't know either. But I told you I didn't feel comfortable having sex and kissing. We weren't just... But I told you I didn't feel comfortable having sex and kissing and we weren't together and you kept pursuing it, so now I'm confused. I want to be with you, okay? Not acknowledging the fact that she was uncomfortable, not even denying it either. So it's likely that this person was communicating their discomfort. And this person, probably was going through with a sexual interaction anyways. Yes, but we are both hurt. That's why I want it to be slow. Obviously not taking it slow. What does it taking it slow mean to you? I don't know. Well, think about it. You keep saying that with no meaning. Well, I mean, taking it slow is just taking it slow. Less talking, less everything. Taking it slow is just taking it slow. Less talking, less everything. Yeah, that would imply less sex as well. Okay? That would imply significantly less sex as well. Because typically, taking it slow doesn't imply less talking. It implies less, less romance. It implies less intimacy. It implies less sexual interactions. Taking it slow is just taking it slow. This person is obviously just wanting to, play by their rules and their rules only. Texting, seeing each other doing things just slower. Less of it until we feel like we want more of it. Yeah, but it appears that you're, saying that's because it works for your... she's casting a two-sided... she's casting a same-sided coin here, right? Oh, let's flip a coin. See if it's going to work out. But each time it lands, it's always going to be heads, right? She's allowing the conditions to be, oh, well, I thought that we both wanted it at this time. I thought that we both wanted more of it. I wanted more of it, so of course it worked out for me this time. Dude, this is incredibly manipulative behavior. Yeah, this is entirely like a one-sided rigged relationship. Dude. You pursued me so many times today just to say we were friends. Do you not think about my feelings when you do that? Because I still love you and it's wrong. I do, that's why I want to not be with you in person. What? This person is so contradictory. They're so backwards. They're so antithetical. I do, that's why I want to not be with you in person until we are both 100% dating. How can you not? Okay, wait. How do you expect to be 100%? Like, again, they're playing by their own rules. They want their cake and eat it too, and they're doing it. Dude, what is this incredibly super manipulative behavior? This is so gross. Oh my god. How can you begin to 100% date if you're not hanging out with each other constantly? If you're not meeting in person, having emotional interactions, talking about talking about your feelings, talking about each other. How can you 100% date if you can't even do that? That's why I want to not be with you in person until we are both 100% dating. How can you come to a 100% dating if you don't even interact with them in person? And each time you do, apparently, it's because you want to have it your way. I gave you so many opportunities to say sorry. We shouldn't do that. But you kept trying to kiss me and you kept groping me. I don't want to talk about it right now. Have a good night. I asked if you remembered Apple. Okay, have a good night. I'm here if you want to talk. Please stop making me feel like I'm being used for sex. I'm sorry, that's how you feel. You kiss me and touch me, and then when we are done, you tell me I can't kiss you. I try to back off of you. Dude. They're not even combating it. They're not even combating it. And they're not actually making a strong felt apology. They're just they're not making a heartfelt apology. They're just I'm sorry if that's how you feel. I'm sorry if that's how you feel. This is typical actual manipulator behavior. I'm sorry if that's how you feel. Not I'm sorry for how my actions made you feel. Dude. Out of respect for your wishes, and then you do it again, and I keep telling you we're friends and we should act friendly, and you keep pursuing it. Stop hurting me just because you're horny, please. You told me you wanted to be together again. I can't act friendly around you. I just can't ever see us being anything but dating. What? This person wants all of the benefits with none of the cons. This person wants Darvo? Unironically, Austin. Unironically, Darvo. This person, she wants all of the benefits with none of the cons. That's not how relationships work. I do miss you and love you. So we shouldn't see each other until we are dating like we used to. How are you supposed to get to that point if you don't want to see this person? You don't want to talk to them. You don't want to engage with them. You don't reciprocate their feelings. How could there ever be dating? If I knew seeing you today would have just made me feel more used to than ever, more used than ever. If I knew seeing you today would have just made me feel more used than ever, do you know how this makes me feel? Every time you try to kiss me or touch me, I just wanted to cry. After the first time, because I kept thinking you were just using me. But you said stuff that made me feel like you cared and wanted to fix things and go back to normal, and that you regretted how things ended. I don't want to hurt you or see you sad, and that's why I can't be with you in person until we are both ready. Unless you want to have sex. Stop breaking me over and over. I care about you. They're not denying it again. They're not denying it. They're not denying any of this, which is extremely concerning to me. There's no combat. There's no combat here, and that's why I can't be with you in person until we are both ready. Okay, to be charitable, that's either saying that this is either them saying that they're being aware of their actions, which is why you guys shouldn't be talking to each other. Because she knows that she's just going to engage in sexual interactions with her and she's going to feel used, or that's her being very vague so that she can have it both ways and utilize her for sex. I told you I was ready to get over you yesterday and you seem like you wanted to fix things. But either way, one is less worse than the other, but they're still both bad, by the way. One is less than the other, but they're still both incredibly bad. Actually, no. I would say another one is worse than the other. Never mind. They're both bad, but one is significantly worse. I told you I was ready to get over you yesterday, and you seemed like you wanted to fix things. How do you feel now? Not even 2 hours ago, you wanted to fix things. It hurts again. I'm sorry for hurting you. No, you aren't. I'm done. I feel so used and disgusting. You aren't disgusting. Are you done? I think this is worse than you breaking up with me. This is so weird on so many levels. She's obviously hurt, and this person just doesn't really seem to care. You can't just say things to me like that just to have sex. Who does that? I am not a it's not just to have sex. I wish I told you how I felt. Being very vague. You pursue me. You trying to kiss me because I miss you and I love you, but I know it's wrong. Do they know it? Okay, again, they either know it's wrong because they can't reciprocate, or they know it's wrong because they're utilizing this individual for sex. You have sex with me not once, not twice, when I never once initiated anything with you. Fuck, but you already did it. Do you not see the issue in that? I know. You did it, and now I'm thinking things are normal, and you're just saying, we should talk less. We shouldn't see each other. We shouldn't date. When you told me, I'm saying you should date, but from afar. I'm saying we should date from afar. That's not how relationships work. You literally told me, what the fuck does that mean? Are we not just friends with benefits at this point? That's true. We are dating. What's this person's definition of dating? What is this person's definition of fucking dating? What the fuck? Unironically. No, do you know what a relationship is? I'm clearly not friends on date, and I can't be friends with you because I love you. What is this person saying, dude? This person is so backwards. They're like being so obtuse right here. They're being so obtuse. Like they know that they can't, like, you know, bite off more than they can chew because they can't continue to, like, you know, Darvo this person. They can't continue to, like, utilize their vulnerability. They can't continue to utilize their naivete. Because you fucked me twice, kept trying to kiss me, you talked to me the same, hold me the same, and now you're changing your mind again? Is this fair to me? Seriously? I'm so hurt. There's no difference. I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to cry. I need to be yours. And just, like... Then what do you mean distance? We don't have to be public about it. I'm just confused. You want to talk less? You don't want to see each other next weekend? You seem so upset leaving. Dude... Ava's emotional, but this might actually be one of the first times I see a document like this, and I'm like, yeah, this person is an incredibly emotionally manipulative asshole. However, did they rape? Probably not, but the way that they engage in sex is pretty coercive. But it appears that this person, like, sort of, like, gave consent because of their own emotional attachment, which is just a failure to set boundaries. It is not rape as people understand rape colloquially. Depending on your prerogatives, you could identify one of these interactions, such as, like, the one that was mentioned earlier on with, like, you know, in the morning after when the mom called. I would take the more like safe. I would take the more safe approach and call it what it is, in very like technical terms, right? It was obviously this person being incredibly pushy and pressuring them into engaging with something that they didn't want to engage with. I don't want people to, like, jump to rape. Because rape is filled with so many negative connotations. Words have a lot of power and a lot of meaning. Somebody should be judged appropriately. My judgment of this person is that they are incredibly gross, incredibly manipulative. They're obviously using this woman. At least to me. At least in my eyes, they are. That's my opinion. That's my speculation. It was emotional manipulation, emotional neglect, things that should be brought to light, and statements from 2 ex-girlfriends. There was an instance where it was just me and Ava at my house because my family was out of town, and we got into a fight. I ended up calling a friend to calm myself down while I was on the phone with my friend and went into my washroom. I knocked on the door and pleaded for her to speak to me, knowing she was upset. When I opened the door, I found her on the floor in the dark, attempting to cut herself with scissors. Okay. I was very thankful to find she didn't inflict any alarming damage, and I just hugged her and cried. This wasn't an isolated incident. Okay, this person is incredibly, like, perturbed. This person is incredibly fucked in the head, is what I'm coming to see. This Ava girl is simply just, like, not mentally healthy, not mentally stable, and they keep burdening this brick girl with that what's the word, with this, like, I want to say emotional unavailability, this, like, sort of hot and cold behavior almost. This wasn't an isolated incident of her harming herself to make me feel guilty or worried. Can you prove that she harmed herself to make you feel guilty or worried, though? Because that is very leading. That is very leading. I'm not going to outright dismiss it, but that is incredibly leading. There were many times when she would threaten to hurt herself or would discuss relapsing, the worst of which involved her sending me an entire suicide note and turning her phone off so she wouldn't receive my many messages and phone calls. It was the first thing I saw on my phone when I woke up early in the morning, and and out of fear for her life, I ended up contacting Sarah's mother through Sarah's mom. I found out Ava was safe and chilling on the couch in their living room. Only then did she finally contact me. All this truly felt like it was just a test to see how much I could handle. Despite feeling that way, I was always happy to help as long as it meant she was okay. I do not want to take this at face value, because this is hearsay. I do not want to take this at face value because this is hearsay. Partial screenshots from the suicide baiting incident. She deleted most text messages regarding this to seemingly cover her tracks. Are you okay, Ava? February 3, 2023. Please, Ava, this actually makes me feel sick. Please call me. I just need to know you're okay. Please call me. I'll let you come over. Please, anything you want. Why are you leaving? I just don't understand. I thought you were doing better. I'm so sorry for not being there. I love you so much. Okay, I relapsed. All good. All good. I love you. Okay, you know what? This is partially corroborating, but there's not a lot of context. There is not a lot of context here. This is partially corroborating to what she said just then. There's not a lot of context. Very concerning behavior, regardless. Extremely concerning behavior. Despite constantly going out of my way to support and help Ava through her personal problems, she rarely did the same for me. One of the worst instances of her neglecting to support me was on July 10th, This is an irrelevant point, in my opinion. You shouldn't be expecting transactional stuff like this. Or you shouldn't be making transactional claims like this. It doesn't help your case. But I'll give it to this person. I'll give it to this person just for the sake of charitability. When I had gotten into a pretty bad car accident, this was my breaking point, due to the entire month prior being incredibly awful for me, slowly descending me into an even deeper depression. The day following the accident, I ended up relapsing and self-harming. I tried opening up to Ava about my feelings and how I couldn't manage my emotions any longer. I thought she would be understanding and try to calm me down, as I've done the same for her multiple times, even opting to put her emotions before mine. Instead of offering her support, she broke up with me. Okay. Instead of offering her support, she broke up with me. which left me very distraught. I was trying to seek out comfort and aid from someone who claimed to love me. It felt as if my only pillar had been taken away from me. I felt hopeless. I begged her to stay and work things out with me, and told her I wanted her to be there for my birthday, which was the next day. We resolved the issue. It appears that this person is just incredibly emotionally manipulative. I don't even think they actually intended to break up with this person, and that's me speculating. It doesn't feel like this person actually intended to ever break up with this person. It's just them, actually playing a sort of hot or cold manipulative strategy here. Screenshots of Ava being weird towards me and screenshots of what she said about me to others. Nobody in your entire life has ever liked you. It's actually so funny. Darvo! Jonathan used you for attention. Kenna hates you. Will hates you. Everyone on Minecraft was weird to you because you're stupid. You somehow almost failed the easiest grade of all time. Nobody has ever liked having you around, and the only person that ever tried genuinely hates every part of you now and will forever despise you. You're the biggest narcissist pest I've ever met, and since you've been out of my life, I got my GED and pay when you're released to move out. Thank you for teaching me to never associate with any like you ever. And never give people like you a second chance. Yet, you wanted to continuously fuck them. You will never be successful. You'll always be shit at everything you do, and you know it. And all you do is cry and never try. Nobody has ever liked you. I hope one day you become a better person. Holy shit, your voice is so annoying. I actually see why everyone hates you so much. I said I emailed you what I was going to say. Now that's just so fucking weird. Seriously, she's actually a freak. Emailed me 54 times, DM'd me on 4 numbers, harasses me and my friends. It's disgusting. Fake being pregnant, horrible fucking person. Actually, don't do dumb shit like that. I'm starting to really fucking hate this person. I'm starting to really hate this person, dude. Oh my god. In his entire, I am willing to believe too that this person is actually making this in the most loaded way possible, with the least amount of details possible, so that she paints this individual out to be the most horrific individual that this person has ever had to date. But based on the previous messages that we see, it appears that this individual has actually been taking again, utilizing emotional leverage against this person every time. So This might just them being combative because this person is finally like, you know, deciding to detach. This is so gross. This person is so fucking gross. I don't even know why they broke up in the first place. I just dated a fucking liar. She had me thinking horrible things about. Yeah, me too. The only thing she told me about it was that lied about getting pregnant so that she wouldn't break up with her. And then sometime in the summer, she told her parents about being assaulted and told them about it. Who knows about the pregnancy thing? Who knows about the pregnancy thing? That's still up in the air. That is still absolutely up in the air. We need to make sure that that is not like taken at face value from either of these people. Who knows if she did fake being pregnant? Who knows if she was just like, you know, joking around? Okay, but even then, if she did take a Google image to like send this person and like, you know, cast some sort of assertion that there might be the potential of them being pregnant, well, it's not a lie. It is kind of deceptive and weird to do, if that is the case, and that's me being charitable to both sides. A statement from Mika, Ava's ex-girlfriend, on her experience with Ava. I dated Floor for almost 3 years. It was going well for a couple of months, and then COVID hit, and we were pulled apart. Despite that, I expected us to communicate still, but she just started to pull away. Even after COVID and we were able to see each other again, she'd only asked to come over to my place, and I always knew it'd end in sex. So there is corroborative information from other people. Okay, so it appears that there is like a significant pattern of behavior here. Of course, consensually. I was not sexually abused by her, though. I would say maybe emotionally. I'll get into that in a bit. There were times where I'd insistently keep saying no because all I wanted to do was cuddle or spend time with her, but she'd just keep asking me until I said yes, which is pressure. She'd fall asleep right after while I had to stay awake. It felt like she was just using me for my body. She was never there emotionally for me. There were plenty of times where she wouldn't text me for months, the longest being 2, not during COVID. There was a lot of guilt tripping and manipulation involved in our relationship. For example, there was a night where I tried to confront her about the problems in our relationship, and she told me something along the lines of, "Thanks a lot, Mika. Now my dad's going to beat me because I slept late." And being in that relationship with her just made me so depressed. Her toxic tendencies reached even towards video games. We were having a LAN duo Valcomp game, and I bought a gun for this random. She shot off the entire PC and yelled at me. I took my leave, but there wasn't much I could do. There wasn't much I could do as she was in my house. List goes on her toxic behavior, but the bottom line of this message was to let you know that you're not alone. She made me feel less of a person and more of just a body, and I empathize with you. I hope you're able to heal from this trauma she put you through. It really is a wild human being. It appears so. It definitely appears so. Sorry if things are all over the place. I'm just spitballing while I'm working here. While working, haha. But I wanted to reach out to support you because being toyed with and mistreated was a hard time to go through. Again, this is just hearsay. Take this as you will. That is really important to mention for this coverage. But I would argue that this Florescent person is super comparable to I'm Alex. Screenshots between her and Ava, more statements about how she felt and what she thinks about the situation, and some proof that Ava might have been cheating on someone she was talking to romantically with at the time. We can try again if you want, but this time is the last time. Which also detracts heavily from the the conversation about not talking to women, but whatever. Well, actually, no, never mind. That would be like applying that retroactively to this because this took place in the past. Disregard. We can try again if you want, but this is the last time. I watched all of Wednesday, and it just made my life so much worse. Because I'm just so sad now. Same thing when I played Omori. I didn't leave bed after. I'm just too depressed. Can I help then? There is no saving me. How are you going to say you want things to be different, but then say this? You seem mad. You can leave if you want. Well, what's being said here? I want to keep talking to you. That's not it. I just want to know where our relationship stands. It's for you to decide. I'm not going to... Dude, this is for you to decide. No! Participate in the conversation! Don't put all of the burden on one person. This is obviously such an emotionally unavailable. I'm not going to force you in a relationship. You know where I stand. Then just make it obvious. Stop bleeding people on. Make your intentions clear. You obviously want some like level of you obviously want some like level of murkiness so that you can like bob and weave and like, punch and jab where you want it to land. So that you still have an opportunity to like, come back later and be like, hey, we're still cool, right? Want to have sex? Dude, I'm willing to give our relationship another shot, but I get my heart broken again. There isn't going to be any more shots. So make the choice, Mika. Putting all of the fucking putting all of the burden on this girl. So if our things will change, then yes, I am ready for a relationship. Assuming that these DMs aren't from another interaction from another person, right? I can make that decision once I know if things will be different or not. Will things be different? So it's a no. Just say yes or no, I don't care. If you say no, I won't ignore you. So please just tell me quickly so I can go to bed. I care because it's a relationship. I want to be in a relationship, but I don't want the same things happening, so I'm asking you if things will be different. Okay, sorry for annoying you. I want to date you. It just feels like you're leading me on. Well, that's not my intention. I'm sorry if it came across like that. I thought we were going to be together in the future and that we were just waiting for the right time when you've recovered, because that's literally what we talked about that one night on Instagram when you were in the US. So I just thought that we'd be together again someday, so I kept sending you those, but I will stop. I want to be together. Okay, so now when this person is finally like, hey, yeah, maybe we should disconnect. Maybe I probably should stop emotionally engaging with you. They're like, I want to be together. Okay. This person isn't fucking slick. I can sniff this shit out from a mile of fucking way. Sorry for annoying you. Just say yes or no, I don't care. I meant, I don't care if you say no. Not I don't care about the relationship. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Look, see, this is exactly what I meant. They're giving themselves just enough leeway. They're giving themselves just enough of an opportunity to like dive back in and go like, oh, you're actually serious about breaking up? Well, actually, this is actually what I meant. We could actually work something out. Dude. So please just stop saying all this extra stuff. Yes or no, are we dating? Extra? No. They're not saying extra stuff. They're properly communicating. You disingenuous fucking asshole. I'm trying to find out if things will be different or not, because if it's not, I don't want to be. And if it's so different, I want to be in a relationship. But it doesn't matter to you. Good night. You ignoring the question, yes or no? It doesn't matter to me, obviously. Please just... It obviously does matter. Dude. Look at this. Look at this behavior. Please, just next response, yes or no. So I know what to do. No, not right now. Not until you tell me our relationship will change. Good night. Love you. Have a good life then. Goodbye. Yes. Please break up. Please tell me this is where it ends. Can I ask you something? Yeah. I have a really important tournament coming up and I don't really have anyone to watch. And I was wondering if maybe you would watch a game or two. Let's see if I can. Thank you. I'll send you event info, but that's at the end of a month in Brazil for 500k. What is that? No, it's not much. It just those are guilt tripping and toxic tendencies never left. What do you mean you have hundreds of thousands of followers, but you reach out to me specifically? Yeah. I was like, this is a pretty prolific individual. They're a pro Valorant player. What do you mean? You want me, like, you obviously want, like, you're trying to build a bridge to this individual. Yeah, she was also telling a bunch of our mutual friends how she missed her ex and stuff. Probably talking about you because she kept saying, I miss my ex, but she has a BF now. Dear Lord, what is wrong with her? She begged me to come back to her at some point when I was with that boyfriend you're referencing, which was odd. Knowing when I had a BF, she still did that? Yuck. Like, where is your respect for me and yourself? She was literally talking to another girl before this and had been in multiple talking stages around this time. What a psycho. I'm sorry, she really is an awful human being. I still feel so much sadness and empathy for you, especially because of this. Sharing that hurts because no one should feel that way. I really hope that she faces consequences with these things. Unsolicited advice, but surrounding yourself with friends definitely helps. In my experience, when we broke up, fucked up mentally so bad I was sent to the ER, and ever since then, it was so hard to find happiness and to recover. I hope you find your peace. No, it's okay, Mika. You can be all there all day. It's okay. I'm fine with the streak continuing. It's 5:30. The longer you keep me awake, the more I sleep. The more I sleep, the more my dad will get mad at me. Do you think I can make the streak of 4 days in a row of my dad beating me? Are these interactions, are these from Ava? Are these from her? The one thing of her beating me in Twitter DMs was because I was drinking recreationally with parental supervision, if I recall that. The first one is her old account. She used to talk to me only or act with only me. Okay, I see. The streak she refers to the streak of her dad beating. I see. My Min Mika tweet account was also used to only talk and post or interact with her as well for context. That explains that. Okay, that explains that. So I posted some extra stuff. Okay, I see. So that is what that is. And acknowledge, but that's all she replied with by guilt tripping me. Now we have this. Yeah, this is probably overdue. There's a lot of weird stuff I overlooked just because I really liked her at the time. Going into the summer, she was also talking about to me about how she is single, lonely, and jealous of my close relationship with my other girlfriends and how she's focusing on herself and her work. Like summer 24, met her in December 2023, and she started flirting with me like 5 days later. March 2024, started dating me. August 2024, broke up. Our friend told me she freaked out when our other friend found out we dated even after she broke up with me, which is broad. I don't know. The dog, I read the text and thought the part about her trying to make you jealous just for a reaction also felt familiar. She would joke about cheating on me and stuff like that. And yeah, I thought it was funny for me, but this is just hearsay. Yeah, I thought it was funny for a bit, but it was just too much. I thought it was pretty obvious when it was actually bothering me, but she didn't stop regardless. She also got upset whenever I mentioned any of my close friends, and we were watching JoJo's, and I literally only said that it was my other friend, a guy. Like one of my openings, and then she left me see after the episode. When I asked what was wrong, she said, "You can figure it out yourself." Dude, what is like these are obviously super emotional, like super like emotionally manipulative like interactions. These are obviously super emotionally manipulative interactions. I just saying the sentence again so that I can splice it in the VOD and I don't sound like an idiot. And then another time, another night right after my birthday, by the way, and she saw some old ass tweets between me and this guy I used to talk in April 2023 and tried breaking up with me because she was somehow jealous over that. She wanted to get a hotel downtown to stay the night with me. I have a cousin living downtown, so I was going to have her cover for me and spend the night at her apartment. We were supposed to meet up at the end of August. She complained about not wanting to spend like $800 on a couple days seeing me if we weren't able to spend one night together. Made $10,000 in 1 month at the time, by the way. Spent $1K on Pokemon at a convention a week after breaking up. Eventually, my cousin wasn't able to cover for me, and she just started acting super cold and broke up with me like a week or two later. And I don't want to be TMI either, but when we were early in the relationship, I noticed a really big shift once I centered my body. She started acting way nicer. You know what? I can believe that, actually, based on this behavior. I can actually believe that based on this behavior. This is going to be extremely speculative, and I have to make it really clear, but it appears that this, person, this Ava chick, what she does is that she dates what appears to be somewhat emotionally inept or vulnerable people with the purpose of, leading them on to engage in hedonistic sexual interactions. And they don't actually have, a really strong understanding of what it means to have a healthy relationship. So that's the entirety of the document. And now that we've established all of the information, I am willing to say that but she is definitely extremely manipulative, incredibly disgusting, doesn't understand relationships. Yeah, I think Ava is absolutely a disgusting individual. It appears that a lot of this is because she herself is very emotionally fucking inept, very socially obtuse. She is straight up a really gross individual based on even some of these screenshots we saw. As in regards for the sex, it appears that most of these interactions were in fact consensual. It is questionable whether the one that happened in the morning that was mentioned over here initially was consensual, but I am willing to argue that this person had, based on testimonies, has a pattern of behavior of wearing people down and getting them in a position where they're more vulnerable so that sex becomes easier. But at the same time, these type of emotional relationships, yes, they're disgusting, they're incredibly wrong, and somebody should absolutely be ostracized from their social groups because of it. But I don't think that this individual deserves to have their career ruined over it, right? They a career should remain separate from stuff like this. In terms of accountability that this person should face, she should probably just be ostracized and be held accountable by the people around her. There shouldn't be any cancellation attempt. That's typically my opinion when it comes to all of this, unless it's something incredibly reckless and dangerous. I think I don't think that this person's career should be stripped from her over this. More so because I think accountability when it comes to situations like this should remain detached from somebody's work. Right? Work is work. It should remain separate from your personal life. Even if your personal life is absolutely fucking degenerate. And I will maintain that position for just about anybody unless there's situations where an individual can utilize their career, can utilize their platform and their the position they hold to potentially do I want to say prey on others, even though there's no predatory behavior here. There's no predatory behavior here. I'm just saying I only maintain that position for situations where somebody could utilize their platform to prey on other people. Not that this is equivalent to that. So to be clear, I think this person is absolutely disgusting. Let's look at their response. I'm aware of the allegations that were made against me and take them very seriously. However, I strongly deny any and all accusations of SA, which I'm somewhat willing to give them. I don't think that I think that it's going to be really difficult to properly accuse them of SA, considering we don't have any legitimate witness. We just have hearsay. I'm currently treating this matter with my full attention. I am also exploring immediate legal assistance to help determine the best way for me to proceed. I will provide an update when capable. I wish I could provide evidence for the public to see immediately, but I have been asked to refrain from sharing at this time for my own safety. I ask that you please respect the other party's privacy at this time. This is obviously such a PR. This is obviously such a PR motivated response. Is this person absolutely disgusting, and do they deserve to be morally judged to a certain degree? Yes. To what degree? Who knows? I am not like a jury or judge. I'm just laying out the information, giving out my opinion. But that's pretty much it for this segment.